Get on there.
Okay, we're back. Alright, disconnected. Disconnected. Damn phone.
I just have.
There we go. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So, Murphy's Law. Swear. This is bullshit. Okay. So, as usual, after I do my audits, I like to go on a post-audit rant about what happened, what it's supposed to happen, why it happened, things like that. As anybody who's been watching, you'll notice a drastic change in what happened in Havana, Florida versus what happened here. It's all lags going on. I having issues with the internet, but when I was in Havana, the police department there it's a very small town. It's a very small police department. Um, and as a result, they don't oftentimes get a lot of people walking around their station. I'm sure you guys might have noticed it with the difference in size of building. Um, but secondly, they know me there. Like, I grew up in that town. That's my hometown. That's why I did my first audit there, because I knew how that they would not bother us. I spoke to them first. Like I said, that's why I chose that place. But here in Niagara Falls, the reason I decided to go on my audit here is because I dropped a friend of mine off here to see his mom, and when I rolled in, I started getting immediate reports. The department here is insanely corrupt. Like all of the neighbors, all of the people that I've talked to, they all say they will arrest you and beat you for no reason. And sorry about that. Let me, because this is I'm disconnected from the Wi-Fi. So the reason why I'm out here is because I got immediate reports, like I said, and our founding fathers wanted a country that was ruled by the people, for the people. The people is what it's comprised of, but it is a government run by us, holding us accountable to each other, and to secure the rights of the people against the tyrannical, what's the word for? Abuse of authority. That's what I'm looking for. They implemented the Constitution. And the U.S. Constitution is a list of rules that tell our government how it can put people into office, in what manner these people can act while in office, what their job positions are, what their job titles are, what they can and cannot do, how they are held accountable to each other, and why they are held accountable to the people. And then to secure those rights, to secure our freedoms and our rights, they implemented the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is a list of rules telling the government what they can and cannot pass laws for. And so when I roll into a town and I hear, oh, the police department is corrupt, it's bad here, my initial reaction is, we'll hold them accountable. Show them what dumbasses they look like. Um, and, well, First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution dictates that Congress shall pass no laws which infringe upon the people's right. Dictates that Congress shall pass no laws which infringe upon the people's right to freedom of press, freedom of religion, and freedom of speech. It also says that the government cannot pass a law that states that I am not allowed to peacefully assemble with my peers to address grievances against my government. Basically, what that means is if my government does something that we, the people, don't like, we have the right to peacefully assemble together and tell our government, we don't like this. You need to stop this, and you need to change this. And one of the ways how we secure our freedoms, and it's amazing that more people aren't doing it, but one of the ways we secure our freedoms is freedom of press. The freedom of press allows us to videotape, record, or in any other manner publish our ideas, our beliefs, and what we stand for all to see. And what this allows is if somebody has a problem, if somebody finds something out about our government that they shouldn't be doing, it gives us the right to go, hey, you can't do this. I've got proof that you're doing it. I can see that you're doing it. Everybody can see it. And to ensure that everybody can see what it is you're doing, I'm going to make it public. And it's natural that our government, our police departments, wouldn't want that kind of information out there. For instance, at the time of the creation of the hydrogen bomb, the government did not want people to know what they were doing in Marshall Islands. In the years past, the Freedom of Information Act causes certain documents to become unclassified after a certain amount of time has passed. And after these unclassified documents have passed, it's too fucking late. There's nothing you can do about it. But had the people of the United States heard about Project Noah, heard about the Marshall Islands as it was happening, oh God, there would have been civil unrest. There would have been riots in the street. The Americans won't put up with that kind of bullshit. You're not going to drop hydrogen bombs on living animals right next to an inhabited island. It's not going to fucking happen. And that's why they kept it classified. They didn't tell anybody what they were doing until well after the fact. But that's what the freedom of press allows, is it allows us to go, this is what you're doing that is wrong, immoral, unconstitutional, and illegal. And you need to stop it. Right? And to ensure that you will stop it, I'm going to tell everybody. And there's not a damn thing you can do to stop me. Right? The freedom of religion was placed into effect because our founding fathers came to America because of religious persecution. It's common knowledge. One of the fundamental reasons why they settled here was religious persecution. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the big ones. It's big enough to maintain through history. Let me put it like that. And it's crucial to a free society. Who you believe in, what you believe in, is your own damn business. And it's not up to some. It's not up to your next door neighbor. It's not up to your mama. It's not up to the government to tell you what you can and cannot believe in. And the freedom of speech is one of the most important rights the people have. It gives us the right to say what we think, say what we feel, without fear of legal persecution. Societal persecution is one thing. If you walk down the streets screaming the N-word, it's not illegal, no. But the people around you might not like it too much. So there's nothing you can do about societal persecution because people are going to behave in the way they're going to behave, and it's the way how we keep ourselves civilized. You're not allowed to say certain things, not because it's illegal, but because you just don't say those kinds of things. It's fucking rude, But you can't go to jail for it. You might get punched in the mouth, which is assault, but then the people might stand up and go, we didn't see shit. We didn't see that. That guy punched that guy? What? And that's what it allows for. And so to protect the rights of the people, we need to start acting as though we are above the government, because we are. They get their powers to govern us and their authority to govern us from us. The police department, who pays their paychecks? Who paves their roads? Who gives them the guns and toys and big fancy cars that they have? We do. That's our money. We pay for that. Right? And so if break this into an example that almost every American can understand. Lights. You hire somebody to mow your yard. And when you get home, they've only mowed half the yard. Are you going to pay them for that job? Probably not. You might pay them half for what you were going to pay them because they did half the work. So why would our public employees be any different? We pay the police to do a job. We don't pay them to have total and complete authority over us. We pay them so that when we need them, they are there. It's the same as the fire department. The fire department doesn't drive around looking for fires. But if a fire occurs, our tax dollars have given them both the personnel and the equipment needed to handle said emergency. Paramedics are no different. We pay the paramedics and our tax dollars so that if we need them, we can call them, right? But the police department is the only one of our emergency personnel that drive around actively looking for crime. They're the ones that are actively walking around trying to arrest people. That's a problem. It's a big problem. Like that, the cop who came out to talk to me initially, the black one, comes out, and I asked him, "Can I help you?" And he says, "Well, I was going to ask you the same thing. I didn't ask for help. I am walking on the sidewalk, minding my own business, engaging in a constitutionally protected activity. Perfectly legal. I didn't ask for your help. I don't want your help. Go away." And the first cop, he was respectful, at least. He overstepped his authority by coming out and trying to tell me to stop. He told me to turn my phone off, and he has no authority to tell me what to do with my damn shit. Right? But he didn't try to force me. He didn't get aggressive. He didn't demand things from me. He was polite, at least. A minimum, he was polite. And when I asked him if I was being detained, he tried to deflect the answer for me. But I asked him again, because he knows, after the third time that I ask, if he has not given me a straight answer, I can legally assume I'm not being detained and walk away. So I asked him the second time, and he said, "I'm not detaining you for anything." So I walked away. There's no reason for me to continue sitting there. No reason for me to continue talking to him. So I walked away. And it's one of the biggest things that American citizens need to understand. You do not need to talk to the police. If they are not detaining you, you can walk away all you want. It's called a consensual encounter. And they can't hold you. You can give them whatever fucking name you want to. You can tell them to go fuck themselves. Because contempt of cop is not a legal charge. It's an abuse of power. You cannot go to jail for telling a cop to go fuck himself. Right? Especially if you're not being detained. He has walked up to you as a public servant. You can tell him whatever you want. Right? But then the second cop that came out, there was like 6 of them standing there. Like I watched the video afterwards, and you can't really see that well because my camera quality's shitty as fuck. But there was like 6 police officers standing in the doorway. I had that whole police department on edge. Right? But that second cop came out and told me to get off my phone. Well, I'm hip to the Socratic method, which is why I fired back the question, why? Right? And he told me I'm not allowed to film the courthouse or police department. I don't want you guys to notice, and you can't really see it all that well, but when I said, sure I can, it is a First Amendment constitutionally protected activity. It guarantees me the right to freedom of press, speech, and religion. He turned around and he looked at his buddies like, "Oh, the First Amendment of the Constitution. Oh, yeah, there's this guy." But then he walked away because he knows I'm right. There's no law that says you cannot do what I was doing. Any attempt on their part to arrest me for it is an abuse of power. It's called an unlawful arrest. And he knows it. They all knew it. I am not their slave. Neither are you. And one of the things our government understands is that in order to secure this is ridiculous. But in order to secure freedom, one must have press and speech. And it's one of the reasons why our government doesn't want us doing this anymore. You know, they all the time say, in this day and age, there's terrorists walking around. Without First Lady. Do I look like a terrorist? Do I speak like one? What terrorist walks around in broad daylight, videotaping the police department right to their faces? Like, it's called illogic. And it doesn't make sense. And then she said something even more interesting, which I don't think you can catch it on the video. I wasn't paying attention too well when I ran across her. But she said, when I asked, what does a terrorist look like? Well, anybody could be a terrorist, even an 11-year-old. Keep that in mind. Even an 11-year-old could be a terrorist. The fuck? What in the name of all that is fucking holy? You're telling me that an 11-year-old child might have a bomb strapped to their chest and is going to walk up into the police department in broad fucking daylight? Bullshit. 11-year-olds aren't even worried about getting laid yet, let alone politics. I didn't start getting into politics until I started getting woken up at gunpoint. Like, I really didn't give two flying rats' asses about what our government was doing and what our politicians were doing until the police started waking me up at gunpoint to tell me I was not allowed to sleep. And when they started doing that, I started getting pissed, as any American should. Any citizen of a free country should. Not just Americans, but any citizen of a free nation should get upset when they are woken up at gunpoint for sleeping. And so, if you're telling me that an 11-year-old child might be a terrorist, you should not be working in a police department. Ever. You should be in a mental hospital. Because what that means is you look at every single individual that you pass by as a threat. You view them as inherently dangerous. And that is not a healthy attitude for a police officer, let alone a city worker. Because what that means is that in a free nation, because our government has caused problems and civil unrest all around the world in their escapade for oil, money, and power, that the citizens you swear to protect are criminals in your eyes. And that means that everyone is a potential danger. Which means that you can draw your gun on anybody, even an 11-year-old child, and be justified in your actions, in your own head. And it's that mentality that causes the reaction that we get. You know, if the police departments didn't inherently view us as a threat to them, they wouldn't give two fucks. Like, Officer Little in Havana, Florida knows me personally. Knows me very well, actually. And he knows I'm not a threat to them. So he didn't respond like I was. He looked at me and went, "Oh, you're just being a dick." Like, you're just walking around videotaping the police department because fuck the cops. And that's exactly the way he responded. He's just like, "Man, I don't give a shit. Videotape us, record us. I don't care." Because he knows I'm not going to hurt them. He knows that people are not just inherently threatening to them. Even hardened criminals will tell you that one of the stupidest acts a criminal can do is shoot a cop. Because the moment you kill a cop, you've stirred a hornet's nest, and they're coming for you. Like, we all know it. We all know it. Even in prison, there's a special place for cop killers. It's right there next to pedophiles. Like, right there next to them. Like, the pedophiles have got them beat. But if you're a cop killer, you're a fucking dumbass. And even prisoners respond to you like that. I mean, you'll get a little bit of credit from some of them. But most of them are going to look at you and be like, "You're a fucking dumbass. You killed a cop." I mean, props for killing a cop, but you're a fucking dumbass. Like, so even hardened criminals understand that's a stupid move. It's a stupid move. But our police don't. And the reason why is because they've got guns on their hips. They're trained in a military mentality. When you train someone in a military mentality, they view everybody as potential combatants, even if they are unarmed, even if they're just walking around with a video camera. And enough on that point. I want to point out a few tactics that was being done there. First, I'm sure you guys noticed it. There was the classic good cop, bad cop motion, where the first one comes out and he's nice and polite and courteous. And, "Hey, man, you can't be doing that, man. You need to turn the camera off, man. Like, you can't be doing that." And when I told him no, and told him have a good day, I'm going to continue what I'm doing, then the bad cop came and tried to intimidate me into turning my camera off. These are police tactics. This is the way they work. They'll try to be courteous with you at first and try to appeal to your humanity. And if that doesn't work, they'll try to bully you. And it's no different from the lunch line bully. "Hey, man, hey, you should give me your lunch money so I don't whoop your ass." "Oh, you don't want to give me your lunch money? I'm going to fucking whoop your ass." "Oh, you're still not going to give me your lunch money? Well, now I'm going to beat you and take it from you." Same complex. Same complex. They ask you nicely to turn the camera off. Well, I beg the question, what happens when I do? What happens when my camera goes off? What happens when the world is not watching you? They're going to beat the shit out of you. Because now there is no video footage. There's nothing to be held in court saying, "I didn't do anything." Because it's your word against theirs. And as a police officer, you take an oath, right? Whatever you say must be true, because oath. Well, the district attorney of, I believe it was Chicago, recently said there are 24 police officers in this police department I'm no longer taking any cases from. And I'm actually going to go back through and re-examine all of their cases. Because I can't trust what they say. And we've all seen it. We all know it. The police have got the right to lie to you. If they can lie to you, why should you trust them? And second, never trust somebody who walks up on you with a firearm. Ever. Ever. We play video games, right? Like, I'm a big Fallout fan. I love Fallout, right? In Fallout, someone walks up on you with a gun drawn. Most players' initial reactions is draw your own weapon. And it's because it's a human reaction. Someone walks up with you with a weapon, they're a threat. They've got a weapon. They've got the means to hurt and kill you. Respond likewise. So I always beg the question. I see it all the time in auditors. Turn the camera off. Well, what happens when I do? It's time that the American people started standing up for themselves. Because nobody else is going to stand up for us. The world is not going to defend us if we are not willing to defend ourselves. Ronald Reagan said, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary. Because by that point, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. I hate to break it to you, Americans. We are weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. We are the richest country in the world who can't fix our damn roads. The richest country in the world who can't take care of children in Michigan. The richest country in the world that spends more on guns and bombs than all of our allies combined. It's time we start standing up. It's time we start looking at the police and going, no. It's time we start looking at our government and going, enough. As Ronald Reagan once again said, we do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. And if you think you're free in this country, if you think in America you are free, ask yourself one question. What can you do personally on your own time that is not taxed, regulated, or illegal other than breathing?